Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride.
We'll jump back into your episode in a minute, but first let me ask you something. Are you great at what you do, but it still feels like no one really sees you as the go-to expert in your space? You're showing up, maybe putting out content, speaking on a few podcasts, but the visibility, the growth, the income, it still feels out of reach. That's exactly why I created the Experts Blueprint. It's a step-by-step system that I use to help coaches, consultants, and purpose-driven experts finally get visible, grow your loyal audience, and turn their message into income. Inside, I'll show you how to craft your story so people actually remember it, build a platform that works for you 24/7, and create content that builds trust and moves people into action. If you're ready to stop being overlooked and start getting the recognition, the results that you deserve, join the waitlist by emailing me at info@tonytaylorinspires.com. Let's build something real. Let's get you seen. Welcome back to your episode.
Hey, welcome, my friends. I am super excited. I got a really good friend here today. His name is Michael Pritchard. He is a world-renowned comedian, youth counselor, and motivational speaker who has spent decades using humor and compassion to transform lives. He began his career as a probation officer using his unique ability to connect with at-risk youth. Michael's journey led him to national fame through appearances on shows like Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. But beyond the spotlight, he chose a path dedicated to inspiring others, speaking in schools, and helping people find hope and resilience. Michael's work has earned him numerous humanitarian awards. Did I say that word right? Humanitarian awards. Yeah. And a lasting legacy as a mentor and advocate for compassion and kindness. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael is something in that brief introduction that I didn't mention. Michael has been my mentor throughout the years. The very first time that I talked to Michael on the phone, I was a brand new speaker. And from that conversation, he said one thing that always stuck with me. He goes, I'm going to be your mentor. I'm going to show you everything that I know. And every conversation that he and I have had, I mean, it has been so impactful to my life. He's let me use some of his lines on stage. I'm not afraid to admit that. Michael is such an incredible human. And I've used him not just, to get the confidence to go on stage, but just the confidence to act and to show up in life for my family, for my friends, for myself. So it is such an honor to welcome my friend, my mentor, Michael Pritchard, to Leaders Lead Podcast. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, sir, so much, Tony. Always good to be with you, Chief. Jimmy Carruthers, who we go everywhere in America together. We're so happy to see you not only aspire, but inspire so many and lift up hearts. We're proud of you, so proud of you. Good job. And Dr. Summer Watson from the Marine Corps family, great Corps leader, great teacher, great heart. She as well. We're all so proud of you.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. I remember Summer, and we've talked about this quite a bit. I remember when Summer first brought you up, she goes, I want you to meet this amazing guy named Michael Pritchard. He's a motivational speaker. You'd love him. And in my head, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever told you this. I was just like, I don't want to meet another freaking speaker. Because I'll tell you, up until we met, I I had met some of my heroes, people that I was like had brought me through some dark places, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to meet another speaker so that I could be disappointed. Because to be honest, I had so many people. They're like, "Oh, I want to mentor you. What's your bank account information? I'm going to get $10,000 from you." So, but but that wasn't the case at all from you. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the support, not only the support that you've given me, but the people that you've put in my life to support me. People like Jimmy. I mean, I've had moments, sitting outside of, in my car. Jimmy will call and he's like, "What are you doing, little brother?"
Yeah.
Nothing, just
Ain't he
nothing.
something?
Yeah, nothing, just sitting here. He goes, "Are you all right?" And I'm freaking in a car sobbing,
Yeah.
because of, what was going on in life at the time. So
Yeah.
so no, thank you. I appreciate you. I One of the things that I thought about was what I think I might know the answer to this, but what brought you to comedy?
Well, I was a medic in service taking care of badly wounded people. And what you learn early in life is life is triage. Lots of wounded, keep moving, lots of wounded. They need you. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to move fast, quick decisions. And one of the key tools of healing is first you drain the wound. You drain the wound spiritually and emotionally. You
Mm,
uplift them spiritually. You get them to talk about their emotions and what impact it has on them, the wounds. But then that gives that opportunity, and it's really important to have that opportunity to be able to drain the wound physically. And they get better. They get better. And then I saw it at juvenile hall, working with kids. I saw it in prisons. I saw it in hospice. I saw it where
Wow.
people just need help with the wounded feelings. That's where the term trauma comes from. It means in Greek woundedness. So making sure that humor is part of the healing process is getting people to be inspired and lifted by laughter. Because, like I tell them, you don't
Amen.
stop laughing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop laughing. And knowing that humor is the greatest gift with little kids, they teach you. When I'm sitting with little kids and they might be sad or like you, they've allowed their disappointment to turn to disillusionment, which means to
Mm,
take the light out of.
mm.
And you have to always have that light, that hope. And so I'm sitting there with the little kid one day and I said, you know, what did you learn by what I was saying? I said, don't overstand people, understand
Understand.
people. And he goes, well, Mr. Mike, I think we should try understanding as well, looking inside ourselves for the answer. Wouldn't that be as well helpful? Now, when the when the fourth grade kid is teaching you more than your college professors, you know you're in the right place at the right time for the right reason. And
Wow.
coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. So when I was on comedy stages, I knew the Holy Spirit was rocking right through me. I had opportunities to shift lives from a stage with laughter and wisdom and kindness.
that's incredible. So it sounds like you realize that laughter was medicine.
I went on to do some amazing work with AIDS patients with Stanford University called the Healing Power of Laughter and Play conferences. We spoke to doctors, nurses, patients, and their caretakers across America.
Wow, what was it that made you not want to be in show business? That was one of my questions because I yeah, that was yeah, that what made you not want to be in it? Was it something about the lifestyle? Did you feel like there was something m- deeper as far as your calling?
Both. I know. I don't know how to best put it, but I met a guy, a famous producer in Hollywood named Danny Arnold. He was a combat veteran from South Pacific Marine Corps, and he did the television show Barney Miller. And I went in to see him, and he looked at me. He's the nicest guy, and he said, "Mike, go home, go home. Don't do this, because you and I will get in arguments about money, and I like you a lot. I think what you're doing is very anointed by the boss upstairs, and I think you're supposed to be doing what you do for kids and not for a wider audience on television, where you make a lot of money, but you'd be sometimes disappointed by people putting words in your mouth you'd never say."
Wow.
That's I said that to you. I got on the plane, Tony. I got on the plane, and it was like a famous Hollywood producer, friend of Jerry Lewis, the famous comedian, and he was so sincere, and he had just had a heart attack, and he just was just disillusioned, I think, himself with what he'd become. In a way, because he was making a lot of money and he was helping really great comedians on Barney Miller. He had a whole raft of great comedians on the show and really talented guys. But I think that the grind of Hollywood had gotten to him. And wisely, he did for me what I did for you. The first day you told me that story of losing your friends, and then you enlisted, I said, man, this is why we need to do something constructive when something destructive happens. And that the training that you got to rebuild, and that's why you're doing a show called Leaders Lead.
How I always I always think it's really cool how, I see, because I've always been a fan of your good and best friend, Robin Williams. And
Yes.
I'll be looking at a documentary, and then I'll see you, which is really cool. I'll see you in the background, like the video that I sent you a couple days, I think a couple weeks ago,
Right, yeah.
where it looked like you were like hyping him up.
Yep.
It looked like, and I could be wrong here. It looked like even back in the day, in the days when you were doing comedy, that you were the motivator's motivator. Is that true?
Well, you're always building up a sense of your destiny in comedians, performers, artists, great athletes. I've come across some really phenomenal athletes and performers over the years, and I've blessed them only by the calmness of what I've learned from taking care of wounded people and dying people. And if you have such a respect for life, that it teaches you that thankful and tranquil is really important. One of the lines I put up for kids is, it's hard to be hateful with a plate full of grateful. And all my life, from the time I was a little boy, I was a prayerful little kid. I was like 5. And in encouraging people and getting wind into their sails, we never know where they're going to go. We never know what they're going to accomplish. I think it's best put by Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, there'll come a time in your life when you can do the right thing or look the other way. If you look the other way, you're already dead. The spirit inside you is gone. But if you encourage yourself and you look the right way, who they were intended to become, what you were intended to be, and what you might have accomplished are so easily much more attained by your acknowledging the importance of the power of the Lord and the Holy Spirit in your life. Can't get better.
Wow.
We are spiritual beings, and we are spiritual beings having human experiences.
Wow. Do you ever regret the decision that you made from leaving Hollywood? and showing up the way that you show up for the kids today?
All the time. I mean, I'm
No way.
all the time.
That is not what I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, I know, but it's called reality because I tell everybody I'm as broke as the tooth fairy at San Quentin. You, I said, I don't have a lot of money, but I have this heart.
Yeah.
And I know a great teacher named Helen Keller was asked, "Oh, Miss Keller, it must be hard for you to be blind." And she said, "Well, it would be if I had no vision." And she went on to prove that by learning to speak with Annie Sullivan's help. When you have a mentor that teaches you to become, and her words live in echoes of history. She wrote books. She did paintings. She was a remarkable spirit. And that's why leaders lead. And I've always been an Irish Catholic social worker all my life. That's when I would see a kid suffering, when I would see a kid in hurt, in pain, in sorrow. I don't care whether it was in a cell in juvenile hall or later on in prison. When you'd see them and you try and get them to wake up inside themselves. And there's a great line by a French writer. He goes, in order to make your dreams come true, the most important thing you do is wake up. And so when we wake up to our destiny, to our emotional wellness, that we can inspire and bring medicine to the hearts and the spirits of others, there's no stopping the Holy Spirit, my brother. None can stop it. Now, there's darkness out there, make no mistake. And there's anger and evil, okay? But it can't be diminished. And that's why I love that line by a little kid one day. I said, "Hey, kids," and this is a second grader up at Hamilton Air Force Base, a mile from my house. I go, "You don't have to blow someone else's candle out to make sure yours shines brighter." And this little second grade girl from Richmond, California, from low-income housing, she goes, "Mr. Mike, if you become that person that bullies people and blows people's candles out, eventually you'll be the one in the darkness."
You've used humor to help kids and adults that are going through some serious pain, some serious trauma. How do you how do you balance that with truth and the reality of their situation?
Well, one of the things to do is to surround yourself in the light of prayer. I pray all the time. I meditate in prayer. I listen to spiritual things. I build what we call a spiritual firewall of angelic resonance. And angelic resonance, I always like this line by G.K. Chesterton, Tony. He said, "The reason that angels fly is because they take things lightly."
Oh, okay.
Isn't that great? Take things lightly because you're not hampered down by the sorrows, When I work with really hardcore depressed people, one of them said to me, I said, "Are you okay? You have never cried in front of me before." And I said, "I want you to know that tears that do not flow will make other organs weep inside of us. We get sick. We get more sick if we don't cry and grieve and allow that cleansing to take place." And he goes, "Yeah, but Mike, my tears smell old, like they've come from the cellar of my soul." So you realize you're alleviating with humor.
Yeah.
You're helping them process emotionally with humor as a tool. It's not a medication, but it certainly is medicine. Right?
Yeah.
And we need more big dharma and less big pharma.
I can agree with you on that. Do you think that as like in a leadership context, do you think that leaders would be more effective if they led with more humor? Because I get a sense that in today's, well, not just today's, but leadership in general, when I think of a leader, when I used to think of a leader before, the person that was just always serious and about their business, do you think that if leaders were able to use humor, they would connect better with their people?
I tell everybody that anger past 30 seconds is ego. And the
Mm,
ego is not your amigo. And the best leaders understand that, just like the kid said, understand, look inside for the answers. And if you're angry and raging at somebody and trying to get some kind of change or transformation from them, their resistance levels are up. But if you come, like a perfect example, my little grandson, all I said to him was, "You're 5 years old and you love your friends at kindergarten, but when you talk like that, when you're angry like that at me, you need to soften your tone. Soften your tone. You'll make more friends. You'll be a more pleasant person, and you'll make more friendships." A little while later, he was licking the icing off the cupcakes, and his grandma yelled at him. He goes, "Grandma, soften your tone." And then I got the look from the boss. Any coach will tell you, if you have a badly raging guy, we don't know the trauma from him in football, baseball, basketball, soccer. We don't know what they've endured. We don't know what pain and sorrow they've seen in early childhood. They call this adverse childhood experiences. Trauma from early childhood. Could be from divorce, could be from abuse, could be from neglect, but they hold childhood trauma. And yet they have superpowers like you do. They have superpowers, right?
yeah.
Superpowers for leadership, superpowers that are inspired to help lift others and lead. And let's go. You can't motivate a guy to go fight a fire or a woman to go fight a fire or take care of wounded unless you can show them that the best sermon, oh my goodness, that's a good example. Show them.
Yeah.
That's why the Marine Corps officers always eat last. Does it look like I ever ate last? It's because I was never an officer.
Michael, you've mentored so many different leaders, and I was going to ask you, what do you see as being the most pivotal role as a mentor?
Well, just knowing you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You don't know the lump of clay that the good Lord handed you to make a fine piece of pottery into an amazing artwork. And that's what human spirit can do. That's what Dr. King said. I've talked to, and I see him later on. Tony, I see him later on in life. And I cry. I don't cry in front of him. I cry when I get to the car, right? I cry when I get to the car. And it's because I go, wow, look at what he became and she became because you blew wind into their sails. There's a camp up north for cancer patients called St. Dorothy's Rest. And there's a poem there. And the poem said, "Oh, the winds of God are blowing, so keep your sails unfurled. And the winds of God will take you to the safe harbors of the world, forever full of power to take you where you will, forever full of grace, if there are sails to fill. So take the helm, be master, unfurl your sail, your part, and the winds of God will take you to the safe harbors of your heart." You got to get control of the wheel, and you're taking people on a journey, and you're teaching them. You know this. You've been out there in a boat on the ocean. You know when you're out there in the lake, you got to be in control of that steering, and you got to make sure the propeller's right and everything's good. And you shake yourself awake to make sure that the people on board with you know how well loved you are, that you will pay attention to where you're headed, where you're going, and where you want to take them, and what safe harbor you're going to. That's it. You don't know who you're getting to a location. Or had a young kid by the name of, if I tell this story, I'll probably cry, but he was a Navy SEAL by the name of Scott Wirtz. He was killed in Syria in a bombing. But when he was a kid growing up back in St. Louis, and he went to DeSmet High School, Catholic school, and we never know where young people are going to take us with their hearts. And just knowing that when they are fighting for freedom globally, they are risking their lives, or perhaps giving their lives for us.
Mhm.
And he was absolutely, with the other folks there, trying to stop terrorism. And there is no greater sacrifice that a person can make. But I hold his mother and dad, Franny and Scott Ski, in my heart forever. That they gave this young man the heart to become who loved so much and endured so much as a SEAL trainee to become who he became and do what he did. And that should put us all aware of some people make sacrifices that we should be so respectful of, so wise about, that we should never, ever doubt that we don't know what coach taught to Scott Wirtz early, what teacher talked to Scott Wirtz that lit a candle inside him, what person encouraged. This is the French word encourage, which means give strength to the heart, and not discourage, take strength away. Words. So use your words as shields and not as swords to hurt or wound. It's really important to do that. Teachers, we don't know what sensitivity a kid has inside them, or what person has a pathway to go to save your life and my life. And I remember when my son became a doctor, he was in New York, and he would call home every day during COVID. He was the chief resident at Brooklyn Hospital. And I was like overwhelmed thinking about him as a young doctor, witnessing all that death, more death than most combat doctors see. And I just told him, our son, it's not important who else is grateful to you. It's that you teach yourself the love of God and Jesus Christ inside you. He has you there for a reason. It's because you will not just survive. You will overcome. You will prevail. You will endure, and you will teach. And if anybody out there ever watches that television show, Pitt, it's about the emotional intelligence it takes to be a healer in the world. And some of the greatest, Robin Williams was the perfect healer. He was hilariously attached to going overseas and talking to young troops. And he was hilariously brilliant at lifting their souls up. And I think that when I think of who you help in life, even if it's in a little way, in a kindness. So that's what I tell the kids. Unwind, remind, find kind. And that is what really helps, is that kindness draws blessings. It draws light, draws light. Always light draws light. Light draws light for the leaders. And when you're down with a homeless guy who's a vet, and you're giving him an egg burrito early in the morning, and you tell him that you had to get there, you were late because there was a guy who attempted suicide who was worth $1 billion. And he looks at me, he goes, just like this, Chief. He goes, Are you kidding me? I'm up here, I ain't got any teeth, and I'm trying to eat an egg burrito, and this guy jumped off the bridge, and I'm holding on with every fiber of my will to live. I endured so much during the war in Vietnam, and then this guy jumps out. Oh, come on. And this elderly lady who was homeless comes out of a pile of garbage. I'm not making this up. Goes like this, what you two are done with your little bromance, would you shut up? I'm trying to get some sleep.
Oh my God.
That is God interjecting himself. And coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah. Something we didn't touch on was I know you just from our relationship, I know you and I have talked about the work that you do. You get called in quite a bit when there's a different crises, school shootings and stuff like that. Do you interject humor into those situations too?
Always.
Or wow.
Always, because you're teaching people that are traumatized. And so it's the soft approach. You don't use cynicism or sarcasm. A cynic is somebody who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. And sarcasm comes from the Greek term sarkasimo, the tearing of flesh off the human spirit. What Mark Twain said, if you're using those two tools, cynicism and sarcasm, to pour out on others so you feel superior or intellectually smarter, what you don't know is you're doing the most damage to yourself internally, because the acidics from those two are killing you inside your heart and spirit. Make sense? Because Twain lost his daughter, Susan, and he became embittered. I'm a big Mark Twain guy. I'm from Missouri, and I grew up and went to Southeast Missouri State University. And I love going back to talk to all the kids. And one of the things you do with police officers, soldiers, like when I'm up with the guys at Yountville, and that was a hard tragedy to deal with. Tom Bird, one of the sergeants from the 25th Infantry, he made a movie called Letters Home from Vietnam. And for HBO, it won the first Emmy and the first Peabody. He would come with me and teach the kids who had come back from multiple tours. And they were great. And I loved them. And you try to use humor. And when we filmed the movie, one of them said, I never thought, after all I'd lived through in combat, that I'd be sitting in a room full of guys laughing my head off. And that's the trigger to healing. That trigger to healing is to know life goes on. There's resilience in every soul. And one of the great gifts is laughing. Laughter is hope. And I had a 100-year-old Marine one time. I said, Tommy Malloy, wow, what a life. Yeah, you're 100 years old. What's the best part of turning 100? And he went, the absolute lack of peer pressure.
The absolute lack of peer pressure. Oh man, that's
the point. And when I'm with tough kids or angry kids or violent kids, sometimes a silly face or, because I do all the voices for Star Wars and Sesame Street and Fox and Disney, they burst out laughing. I do stupid faces. One of the Chronicle reporters said, Pritchard has no material. He has nothing that he's written down. He just gets on stage and throws himself around with spastic abandon and does stupid noises. And he goes, all we do as the audience is burst out laughing because we've never seen anybody that does this. It was like the old Jim Carrey school, the force is strong within you. I had Tony, I had a little kid over in the wealthy area of Piedmont, and I was doing a show for him, and they were kindergartners. He raised his hand. I go, hey, I'm doing a show. I says, I'll come back to you. And he goes, no, it's important now. He's like 5. I go, what's your name? And he goes, Desmond. I says, okay, Desmond, what's so important it has to be answered now? And he goes, how do you stay married? Where did that come from? And he goes, my mother would never let me act the way you do. Why does your wife let you? And I go, oh. And the teacher goes, Mike, just so you know, his mom and daddy are psychiatrists. So he wanted not to be controlled. And I was thinking about that, if you're trying to stifle laughter in somebody trying to become or heal, or they want to be an artist, it takes me to that movie. I was in the theater with Robin Williams, watching, Dead Poets Society.
I love that movie. Yeah.
And there was a moment in there when the father is demeaning the kid for wanting to be an actor, which was his dream. And then he said to him, I was at the premiere, and I was about 3 rows back from Robin. And the dad goes, and the actor's very accomplished and brilliant. He goes, yes, tell me how you feel. And I'm in the audience, and I'm into the movie. And I go, tell him, damn it, tell him. And everybody got real quiet because I'm watching great actors do great acting. And all I hear is Robin going, Mikey. And unless we get our truth out, how can we become leaders?
Wow.
How can we become leaders? And, it's in that moment when, Jesus taught subtly. Jesus Christ and many great prophets taught very softly with wisdom. And when I see what everybody's yelling about right now, Anthony, and about leadership, I think of the words of King Solomon, my brother. There's a river of gladness that runs through the city of the Most Holy. He is within it, and it will not fall. He will save it at the break of dawn. Nations and kingdoms will totter. Despots and tyrants will fall. But when he lifts his voice, the earth melts away. Come and look at all the desolation that he's put forth on earth. But he ends wars to the ends of the earth. He shatters the bow. He splinters the spear. He burns the shield with fire. Be still and know that I am God. The Lord of all the host of angels is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Whom should we fear? And what I tell children is fear is forgetting everything's all right. Forgetting everything's all right. We'll be okay.
Wow.
We're going to get through it, buddy. We're going to get through it with love, dignity, community unity, compassion and fashion, and a remarkable sense of hopefulness. And there's nothing for us to fear. And I mean, when you were a little kid standing on that corner and you had heard that your best friends had died, and you thought to yourself, what hope is there for me? Will I wind up with the exact same fate, being lost in violence? But here you are, my young brother, with the help of Reverend Jimmy Carruthers, national karate champion, and Big Mike Pritchard, the goofball. You have done so much and been so much for your wife and kids that Tacoma should be grateful to have you call it home.
I appreciate you saying that. Oh, I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. I was going to ask you, I was watching the movie Happy that you starred in.
Oh, yeah.
And man, just thinking about it gives me chills. That moment. I think if anybody watched the movie Happy, they would they would walk away. I mean, because the biggest thing of it was I know they talked about flow, but I mean, I cried in that moment when you're standing on that gym floor with that kid, and I think he was talking about the people making fun of him. What was that moment like for you? And did you know that that was going to happen? I think that's the bigger question. What are your thoughts on that?
The Lord does not give us victory in everyone we lead to goodness. That little boy is in prison now for murder, not talked about. And what happens is he got involved in an altercation in Vallejo and took a life in his prison. And can you imagine, I tell everybody we have to get there on time. And there's a forensics term, sir. It's called tachypsychia, which means time in the mind.
Mm.
And it's a forensics term because sometimes during violence, shootings, fires, car accidents, time slows down. And it seems like everything's in slow motion. And that happens during traumatic incidences. And with me watching that little boy, I said, what could I have done different? And the answer whispered back by the angels, you did what you were there to do. The choice became his.
Yeah.
We are given free will. But like I tell the teachers, that movie, the Happy movie, Tom Shadyac is a billionaire. And he made the movie because he had lost his happiness from a traumatic brain injury riding his bike. He had done so many great movies, Bruce Almighty, Evan Almighty, Ace Ventura 1 and 2, Patch Adams, Liar, Liar, Nutty Professor. He directed Robin in Patch Adams, right? And I knew Patch Adams from our Healing Power of Laughter and Play conferences. What's great, though, and what's important, though, and what's awesome to know is that whoever we come in contact with to help lead to a brighter oasis, the name of the production company is Wadi Rum. Wadi Rum is like in the Middle East. It's all of the kids from Afghanistan will tell you, it's like a little place, safe place, a ditch with palm trees and water. Wadi Rum production. So we take, for all of our friends in the Middle East, we all need Wadi Rum in the world. We need an oasis to sit and be and to cool off from the anger and rage and violence of the world. And when Wadi Rum, and we look at what makes us happy, all you do is know that it's all internal. It's not external. And some religions, any religion can teach hate, whether we choose to accept hate as an answer to separate us from the love of others.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing. And I tell people get angry at me because I'm a Catholic. I tell them, religion is sometimes for people afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people who have already been there.
Wow.
I've been there. I've seen starving children in Central America. I've seen kids in the Middle East. I've seen kids in America. I've seen kids in Canada suffering. Yeah. And what we have to do is be part of the balm of calm. And then we make it a psalm of the balm of calm, right?
Yeah.
We do what I said, that scripture I read from Solomon in my brain is called the 46th Psalm.
I love it. I love it. The last question. I've come into contact with quite a few people, leaders that are hurting, going through some hard times.
Sure.
Is there anything that you can say to them directly at this moment?
Yes,
That can
absolutely.
ease that hurt, that can ease that pain?
Yes. Here's what I tell children all the time, and the younger, the easier, the better. When I'm with little kids, they make me laugh so hard at times. I was thinking that I teach hurting people hurt people. Some people have so much pain they can't take any more at school or in the community. Some people have so much pain from the community and in the family they can't take any more at school or work. So know that hurt people hurt people. You don't know who holds pain, who holds sorrow or depression. So it's important to be soft and gentle as you go. And if you want that from others, be that for others. This is what Christ taught. He's standing there and he looks at the woman and he said, "Can I have water?" She said, "You're a Jew and I'm a Samaritan. No, no water. I can't do that. In fact, I shouldn't be talking to you because you're the enemy." And Jesus smiled and Jesus said, "Just give me a cup of water." And she knew that Jesus was Jesus. And you'll always meet those people that are angels on your path. They are Jesus. One day when I was with my grandson, I looked out and there was an elderly homeless man on the island by my wealthy community, Big Five sporting store. And I looked down and his face looked like a giant painting of a Danish suffering older man. He was in his 80s. And I looked at his eyes and he looked like a painting of grief and sorrow and sadness and hunger for just love. And I rolled my window down and I go, "Hey, sir, all I have is a fiver. I don't have any food or anything, but please come and take this. And please don't buy tobacco or alcohol. Don't do something that hurts you. Do something good for yourself, okay?" And then he goes, "All right, thank you. Thank you. God bless you." And I said, "Okay, all right, have a good day, Jesus." And my little grandson was in the back, Tony, and he goes, "Grandpa, I hope you know that that was not Jesus." I go, "Brian, Cosmos, I know that's not Jesus, but we're supposed to treat everybody like that." And he says, "I get it, Grandpa. I actually do get it."
Wow.
And I was overwhelmed because that, my brother, is what I teach us. Be Jesus, be Moses, be whatever kind of avatar of love, be Confucius, be, like I tell my guys at prison, "Hey, brother, karma has your address.
Yeah.
Angels have your GPS on your soul. They'll come. Justice will arrive for you. Be well, be kind, ask for forgiveness, repent, metanoia, which means a change of heart. Just get people to change their heart. And so if you want others to treat you in the world to treat you better, do what Ebenezer did. Do what St. Peter did when he betrayed his best friend. Forgive to live and live to forgive.
Yes.
And the best sermon is a good example. And may God bless you and all those you love. And listen to leaders like Tony, who are in the heart of Christ. And we struggle, make no mistake. It's tough out there. It's a tough world. But what makes us wise is knowing the wisdom of Solomon. And that's, we will endure. And there's a being to pray to ask for help. And he will send angels. In all religions, than angels, if you notice that. There's a reason. All right, my brother.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you doing this, man. This has been really good. Really, really good. I got a lot from this, and I'm willing to bet that the people that are listening, the people that are watching, they got a lot from this. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I love you, brother.
Take care.
Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.